The jungle of Duranine was alive with sound. Strange birds with crystal-colored wings sang from the tall trees, and glowing insects drifted between the thick vines like floating lanterns. Lieutenant Marcus Hale, xenobiologist of the United Terran Alliance, stood in the middle of it all, his scanner blinking softly in his hand. He had been on this planet for 3 weeks, studying the local wildlife and preparing for humanity's first real meeting with the native species, the Dracari. They were large, reptilian, proud, and deeply traditional. Humans had observed them from a distance, learning their language and gestures, but true contact had been limited. Today, Marcus had volunteered to make that first step. He wasn't a soldier or a diplomat. He was just a scientist with curiosity and too much bravery for his own good. "I just have to say hello," he muttered to himself, brushing a leaf off his shoulder. How hard can it be? His drone hovering nearby gave a soft beep. Life signs detected. Dracari female, approximately 2.5 meters tall, approaching from the east. Marcus straightened his uniform, checked his translator earpiece, and took a deep breath. "Okay, Marcus. Be polite, be friendly, don't panic." Through the thick leaves, a figure emerged. The Dracari female was enormous compared to him. Strong muscles under emerald green scales, eyes bright and sharp like polished amber. She carried a spear carved from some kind of dark crystal. Her long tail swayed behind her as she walked. Marcus raised his hand and smiled nervously. "Greetings. I am Lieutenant Marcus Hale from Earth. I come in peace." The Dracari tilted her head, watching him curiously. Her voice was low and rough, but not unkind. "Small one, you speak clearly. You are human." "Yes, that's right," Marcus said, relaxing a little. "You can call me Marcus." She tapped her chest with a clawed hand. "I am Viressa, warrior of the Red Fang clan. Nice to meet you, Viressa." Marcus smiled wider. "I study life. I mean animals, plants, and cultures. You have a beautiful world." Viressa blinked slowly, perhaps confused by his chatter. But before she could respond, Marcus's drone suddenly beeped a warning. "Proximity alert." He turned too fast, tripped over a thick root, and the drone, trying to adjust, dropped its small cargo pod, straight onto his head. The world went dark. Marcus woke up to weight on his chest. Heavy solid weight. He blinked groggily, seeing bright jungle light above him. His lungs struggled for air. Something big was sitting on him. His vision cleared, and he saw Viressa, the huge Dracari warrior, perched squarely on his chest, looking down at him with wide eyes. Her tail swayed behind her like a curious cat's. "What are you doing?" Marcus gasped. "You did not wake," she said simply, her voice calm. "You were still as stone. I used the ancient method." "The ancient?" He tried to move, but she didn't budge. "Viressa, please get off me." Her head tilted. "You open eyes and look into mine," she said slowly. "You breathe my scent. You do not push me away. It is done." "What's done?" Marcus asked, confused. Viressa raised her head proudly and let out a deep growl that echoed through the trees. From the jungle around them came answering roars, other Dracari emerging, their scales glinting in the light. Marcus counted at least a dozen. They all stared at him and began to cheer. Viressa stood, finally freeing him, and lifted her spear to the sky. "He wakes beneath me. The stars have chosen. He is my bondmate." Marcus froze. "Your what?" The Dracari around them stomped the ground, chanting and roaring in excitement. "Bondmate? Bondmate!" One of the elders, old and scaled like ancient stone, stepped forward. "Viressa of the Red Fang," the elder said, his voice deep. "You have claimed him in the old way?" "I have," she said proudly. "Then it is witnessed. The bond is true." Marcus looked from one alien to another. "Wait, no, this is a misunderstanding. She sat on me. I was unconscious." The elder looked at him with calm wisdom. "You did not resist her touch. You opened your eyes to her gaze. You accepted the breath of her spirit. The bond is sealed," Marcus groaned. "Oh no, this can't be happening." Viressa looked pleased with herself, her tail flicking happily. "Do not fear, Marcus. You are safe now. You are under my protection. No Dracari will harm you." "I wasn't worried about that," Marcus protested. "You just announced we're married." She blinked again, puzzled. "Married? That is your human word for life bond?" "Yes, we are that." "Oh great," Marcus muttered. "My first contact mission, and I accidentally got married to a 7-foot lizard warrior." Within an hour, Marcus found himself escorted to the Dracari camp. a collection of large stone huts built into the roots of giant trees. The air smelled of fruit and smoke. Everywhere he looked, Dressari of all colors stared at him with open curiosity. Children giggled behind rocks. Warriors nodded respectfully. A group of elders whispered to each other, glancing between him and Veressa. "This is impressive," Marcus said weakly. "You live in harmony with nature." Veressa smiled, or at least showed teeth in what he hoped was a smile. "Our people in the jungle are one. Now it is your home, too. I'm sure the embassy will be thrilled," he said under his breath. Inside the main hut, a tall Dressari elder sat on a stone chair carved with symbols. "Veressa," he rumbled, "you bring honor to your clan. Few warriors bond with one beyond the stars. It is a sign of peace between our kinds." Marcus tried to speak carefully. "Respected elder, I think there's a cultural confusion. In human tradition, this kind of bond is permanent, and it usually requires both sides agreeing clearly." The elder nodded. "And you opened your eyes beneath her, yes?" "Well, yes, but..." "And you did not reject her breath?" "I didn't even know what was happening." The elder smiled, a deep rumbling sound like distant thunder. "Then all is well. You have agreed in spirit." Marcus rubbed his forehead. "Perfect. Just perfect." Veressa leaned closer, her golden eyes shining with amusement. "You are worried, Marcus. You think our customs are strange?" "I think," he said carefully, "that my commander is going to faint when he hears about this." She gave a short laugh. "Then let him. You are part of Red Fang now." As night fell, torches were lit around the camp. The Dressari gathered in a wide circle, singing deep rhythmic chants. Fruits, roasted roots, and bright red flowers were offered to the fire. Marcus sat awkwardly beside Veressa, trying to smile politely whenever someone congratulated them. He noticed that even though the Dressari looked fierce, there was joy and unity in their celebration. They believed this event meant peace and a bond between two worlds. He sighed, looking at Veressa. She was proud, confident, and strangely gentle toward him. She noticed his gaze and tilted her head. "You do not eat," she said. "Is the food wrong?" No, it's fine," Marcus said quickly. "I'm just thinking." Thinking makes the mind tired. Eat. Tomorrow the elders will prepare the binding feast. It will be good." "Binding feast?" he asked nervously. "It is when both partners share the spirit of the jungle before the stars. It is tradition." Marcus swallowed. "Of course it is." He leaned back, staring at the glowing fireflies swirling in the air. Somehow his dream of peaceful contact had turned into a diplomatic marriage he couldn't explain. Yet as he watched the Dressari laugh and sing, he felt something unexpected. They were not just warriors. They were a people of heart and honor. Maybe this mistake could turn into something meaningful. Veressa nudged him lightly with her elbow. "You are quiet, Marcus Hale." "I'm thinking how strange life can be," he admitted. She grinned, her sharp teeth catching the firelight. "Strange, but good," he smiled back weakly. "Yeah, let's hope so." Above them, the twin moons of Dura 9 rose, casting silver light across the camp. The drums continued to beat, the fire burned bright. And somewhere deep in the jungle, the sound of alien laughter echoed like a promise of unexpected friendship. Marcus didn't know what tomorrow would bring, only that it would be complicated and very, very interesting. Morning came bright and humid on Dura 9. Mist hung between the huge trees and the camp was already busy. Dressari warriors trained near the river, their tails moving like whips as they swung heavy spears. The smell of fruit and spice filled the air. Lieutenant Marcus Hale sat on a flat stone watching in disbelief as a group of Dressari artists painted a large symbol of two stars crossing, the mark of unity. They were preparing for something called the Binding Feast, a ceremony that would strengthen the bond between him and Veressa. He rubbed his face. "How do I explain this to command?" "Sorry, Captain, first contact went fine except I accidentally married an alien warrior queen." "Yeah, that'll go great in the report." His communication earpiece crackled. "Lieutenant Hale, this is Commander Ortiz. We received your signal." "What's your status?" Marcus sighed in relief. "Commander, I'm okay, but I might have caused a small diplomatic situation." There was a pause. "Define small, Lieutenant." Marcus looked over to see Veressa sharpening her spear proudly, several Dressari females watching her with admiration. "Let's just say I'm now considered an honorary member of the tribe. Or more specifically, Veressa's life partner. Another long silence. Then Ortiz muttered, "Please tell me you're joking." "I wish I was," Marcus replied. "Apparently their culture has a bonding ritual that happens when someone sits on you while you're unconscious." "Long story," Ortiz groaned. "All right, listen carefully. You're now a symbol of trust between our species. If you offend them or reject the union, it could destroy the peace negotiations. Play along, keep it diplomatic, and don't do anything stupid." "Understood," Marcus said, rubbing his temples. "For the record, I'm not the one who sat on anyone." "Good. Then stay alive and represent Earth well." "Ortiz out," the line clicked off. Marcus sighed deeply. Veressa approached, her scales gleaming in the sunlight. She carried 2 cups made from carved shells. "You speak with your leaders?" "Yeah," Marcus said. "They told me to be respectful and not cause any interplanetary incidents." "That is wise," Veressa said seriously. "My people now see you as a bridge between our worlds. You must act with honor." "I'll try," Marcus said, "though I still don't understand half of your customs." She smiled slightly, showing her sharp teeth. "Then you will learn. Come, I will teach you." Veressa led Marcus through the jungle trails. The air buzzed with insects and the ground was soft under their boots. They stopped before a great stone arch covered in glowing moss. "This is the Hall of Ancients," Veressa explained. "Every warrior must face it before joining the clan." Marcus stared in awe. Strange carvings of Drassery history covered the stones, tales of storms, hunts, and battles fought long ago. "It's beautiful," Marcus said softly. Veressa nodded. "Our ancestors teach that strength is not only in the body, but in the bond with others. That is why our people believe in life pairs. Alone, one is a claw. Together, they are a hand." Marcus smiled at that. "That's actually very wise, you see?" she said proudly. "Already you think like Drasari." He chuckled. "I guess that's one way to look at it." They walked further, reaching a waterfall that poured down into a bright blue pool. There, other Drassery gathered, wearing colorful shells and feathers. When they saw Marcus, they began to chant his name in their deep voices. "Marcus of the Stars. Marcus of the Red Fang." He blinked. "They know my name?" "Of course," Veressa said. "You are famous now. The first human to bond with a Drassery. The elders say your joining marks a new age." "Oh no," Marcus muttered. "I've become a symbol." That evening the binding feast began. Drums echoed through the forest and torches painted the trees with golden light. The air smelled of roasted fruit and flowers. The entire tribe had gathered in a wide clearing. Marcus sat beside Veressa on a carved stone seat. The elder council stood before them. "Veressa of Red Fang," the oldest elder announced, his deep voice carrying through the night. "You have chosen a mate beyond the stars. Through you the clan see new hope." Veressa bowed her head. "I honor the bond." "Marcus of Earth," the elder continued, looking at him. "You have accepted the life mark of our people. You will share the spirit of unity before all." Marcus swallowed. "I to honor the bond?" he said carefully. The crowd roared with approval. Then the ritual began. Veressa handed Marcus a small bowl of glowing fruit juice. "Drink," she said softly. "It is symbolic," he hesitated.
"Symbolic of what?"
"Togetherness," she said simply. He took a small sip. It was sweet and slightly spicy. Not bad. Veressa grinned and drank from her bowl too. Around them the Drasari began to sing, a deep, rhythmic chant that vibrated through the ground. For a moment Marcus forgot his worries. The air shimmered with color. Fireflies floated in circles above them like living stars. The whole ceremony felt ancient and peaceful. But the peace didn't last. Suddenly, a shout came from the outer guards. "Intruders, to arms!" The music stopped instantly. Warriors grabbed their weapons. Marcus stood confused. "What's happening?" Veressa's expression darkened. "A rogue clan," she said. "They hate humans. They think this union is dishonor." A flash of plasma cut through the night, hitting one of the huts. Flames erupted, lighting the sky red. Drassery warriors charged toward the noise, roaring. "Stay close," Veressa commanded, pulling Marcus behind a fallen tree. Energy blasts shook the ground. Marcus ducked. "Are they trying to kill us?" "They want to end the peace," she said grimly. "If they destroy the bond ceremony, the clans will return to war." "Then we can't let that happen," Marcus said firmly. "How many are there?" "Too many for a direct fight." Marcus glanced at his scanner. "Wait, I can help. My drone has sound projectors. We can use them to distract the attackers. Veressa tilted her head. A machine that makes sound? Loud sound, Marcus said with a grin. Like thunder, she smirked. Then let us give them a storm. They worked quickly. While the Dressari warriors defended the main path, Marcus sent his drone into the jungle. He programmed it to emit deep roars and movement noises from different directions. The effect was instant. The enemy fighters turned, confused, thinking reinforcements were arriving. Veressa used the moment to lead a group of warriors through a side path and strike from behind. The battle was fast and fierce. Plasma beams lit the trees. Smoke filled the air and the ground shook with explosions. Marcus stayed behind cover, guiding the drone and shouting directions. Left flank moving in. 3 hostiles behind the fallen tree. Veressa roared and charged, her spear flashing. She fought like a storm, strong and precise. Her warriors followed, their movements disciplined and proud. When the dust finally settled, the attackers fled into the jungle, leaving silence behind. The Dressari cheered. Red Fang prevails. Marcus leaned against a rock, panting. Remind me never to call this planet boring. Veressa approached him, breathing hard but smiling. You fought well, Marcus of Earth. He laughed weakly. I didn't fight, I hid and pressed buttons. Strategy is also battle, she said. You saved lives tonight? Marcus nodded slowly. Maybe we make a pretty good team. Veressa looked at him for a long moment. Yes, you and I. Stronger together. Later that night, the fires were relit, and the feast continued. Not for ceremony this time, but for victory. The Dressari sang songs of courage, their voices deep and proud. Marcus sat beside Veressa, his uniform torn, his hair dusty, but a smile on his face. You know, he said, I think I'm starting to understand your people. She handed him a piece of roasted fruit. And we begin to understand yours. You fight with mind, not just muscle. The elders will see that, Marcus chuckled. If they don't, I'll write a presentation. She didn't understand the joke, but she smiled anyway. Tomorrow the council will meet. They will name our bond as a symbol of peace. You must stand beside me. Of course, he said. I'll be there. The drum slowed. The stars above shimmered like tiny fires. Marcus leaned back, feeling both exhausted and proud. He looked at Veressa. You know, this whole thing started because you sat on me. She tilted her head. And now? He smiled softly. Now. I'm kind of glad you did. She laughed, a low, warm sound. Then maybe the stars knew better than we did. The two sat together, watching the flames rise into the alien night, unaware that their peace would soon be tested again. And this time, the fate of both species would hang in the balance. The morning sun rose over Dura 9 like a burning ember. Birds with golden wings chirped in the distance, but the jungle carried an uneasy tension. Last night's skirmish had left marks. Scorched trees, broken huts, and a nervous ripple through the Red Fang clan. Lieutenant Marcus Hale sat on a flat stone, cleaning a small scratch on his arm. He felt the cool morning air but could not shake the memory of enemy plasma flashes and the smell of smoke. Beside him, Veressa sharpened her spear, her amber eyes focused, calm and fierce. The council will meet today, she said without looking up. You must attend, Marcus of Earth. They will honor our bond in front of all clans, and you must show courage. Marcus rubbed his temple. Courage? I showed plenty last night, mostly by hiding behind trees and pressing buttons. Veressa tilted her head. Hiding is not weakness. Strategy is strength. You saved lives. Remember that. He nodded, trying to smile. Thanks. I'll remember. Suddenly a scout appeared, running from the trees. Elders captured. The rogue faction, they have taken them to the eastern ridge. Veressa's tail flicked sharply. They want to break the peace. They demand I reject you or they will destroy our people. Marcus's heart pounded. Reject me? Not happening. I'm not leaving you. Not now, not ever. Good, Veressa said firmly. Then we fight together. They ran through the jungle, moving quickly over roots and fallen logs. Marcus carried a small pack with his drone equipment. I can create distractions, he said. They'll think we are in more places than we are. Veressa glanced at him. Your machine can confuse them? Yes, and we have the element of surprise. He grinned. Think of it as human cunning, she smirked. Human cunning. We shall see. The jungle thickened and the roar of distant enemies reached their ears. They moved carefully, staying low and silent. Marcus's scanner beeped softly. They're close, about 30 hostile fighters ahead, mostly lightly armed. Vressa nodded. We divide and distract. You use your devices. I lead the main group, Marcus swallowed. Sounds dangerous. Danger is honor, she said. You will see, the ridge came into view. The rogue Drassery had set up a camp, their plasma traps glowing red among rocks and trees. Marcus set his drone on a high branch, activating its sound projection. It emitted roars, the sounds of movement and clashing metal. The enemies reacted instantly. They turned, shouting and firing blindly at phantom attackers. Marcus ducked behind a boulder. That's working. Keep firing! Vressa charged with a roar, her spear flashing. Her warriors followed, skilled and disciplined. Marcus watched as she moved with perfect precision, blocking strikes, spinning her spear, and directing her team with sharp commands. He realized something. Humans could hide behind technology, but Drassery's strength came from their unity, their courage and their skill. Together they were unstoppable. Inside the rogue camp, Vressa and Marcus reached the captives, the Elder Council bound with energy ropes. The leader of the rogue faction stood in the center, tall and cruel-eyed. Give up your human, he hissed, or your elders die. Reject him, Vressa, or all is lost. Vressa stepped forward, her tail curling like a whip. I reject nothing. He is my partner. You are fools to threaten peace. Marcus raised his hands. You heard her. Peace is stronger than anger. Let the elders go. The rogue laughed, drawing a plasma blade. Words mean nothing. Only strength rules here. Before the fight could escalate, Marcus activated his drone again. This time, it projected multiple holographic images of him and Vressa moving through the jungle. The rogue fighters hesitated, unsure which targets were real. Vressa seized the moment. With a single leap, she struck the leader's weapon aside and pinned him to the ground. Her warriors swarmed, disabling the rogue attackers quickly. Marcus ran forward, helping untie the elders. You're safe, he said. The council members looked at him with relief and amazement. You fought well, human, one elder said. Your mind saved lives as much as your courage. Marcus smiled, exhausted. I just did what anyone would do. The elder chuckled. Not anyone. You are the first of your kind to earn true Drassery respect. Once the rogue faction was captured and bound, Vressa and Marcus led the elders back to the main camp. Drassery warriors cheered along the way. Marcus felt something he had never expected. Pride. Not pride in himself alone, but in humanity. Humans could face danger with courage, empathy, and ingenuity, even on an alien world. The council reconvened in the main hall. Vressa and Marcus stood side by side, front and center. The elder spoke, deep and commanding. Vressa of Red Fang, he said, you have defended honor and peace. Marcus of Earth, you have fought with courage and wisdom. Today our bond is witnessed and celebrated. Marcus felt Vressa's hand brush his arm. Not just a gesture of ceremony, but of trust. He squeezed lightly. Together, she said. Together, he echoed. The crowd erupted in cheers. Drassery of all clans raised their arms, drums beating, voices singing in unison. Humans and aliens, warriors and scientists all witnessed the moment. Marcus realized something important. Humanity's strength was not just in weapons or technology. It was in heart, courage, and the willingness to stand for others. Later that evening, the camp celebrated. The binding feast, which had been interrupted, continued, this time as a festival of victory and peace. The fire reflected off the glowing wings of jungle birds, and the air smelled sweet with roasted fruit. Marcus sat beside Vressa, eating cautiously from a small bowl. She watched him. You are strange, human, she said. You eat cautiously, yet fight bravely, he laughed. I guess I am strange, but I'm learning from the best. You are learning quickly, she said. Your mind is sharp. You are brave, you are remarkable. Marcus smiled, feeling warmth spread through him. Thanks, Vressa. I couldn't have done this without you. She tilted her head and grinned. Then we are a true team, not by accident but by choice. Above them, Dura Nine's twin moons rose in the sky, casting silver light across the jungle canopy. Fireflies swirled like stars. Marcus looked around at the camp, humans and Drassery celebrating together, and felt something extraordinary. Despite the chaos, the misunderstandings and the danger, humanity had won not through dominance, but through courage, wisdom, and compassion. He realized that this, standing together with another species, respecting them and learning from them, was exactly what humans could offer the galaxy. Vressa nudged him gently with her elbow. Tomorrow the council will discuss alliances. You will speak as my partner. Are you ready? Marcus laughed softly. Ready as I'll ever be. And I think I'm starting to like this planet. And this whole accidental marriage thing, she laughed, a low, rolling sound that echoed through the jungle. Then maybe the stars knew better than we did. He grinned, feeling at home in a world he had never imagined. Yeah, maybe they did. The night deepened. Torches burned bright, music filled the air, and the fire reflected in their eyes. Humans and Dressari sat together, sharing stories, food, and laughter. Marcus understood finally that HFY, humanity's greatest strength, was more than courage or technology. It was connection, empathy, and the ability to choose honor in the face of fear. And in that moment, side by side with Veressa, Marcus felt the truth of it. Humans could be heroes, not by force alone but by heart. Tomorrow they would face new challenges, new negotiations, and perhaps new enemies. But tonight they had forged a bond between two species that would shine across the stars. He looked at Veressa again. Sitting on me wasn't exactly the way I imagined first contact. She tilted her head and smirked. Perhaps not. But it brought us here. And here is... Perfect, Marcus laughed. Yeah, I'd say it's not a bad start. The fire crackled. The jungle hummed with life. And in the alien night, a human and a Dressari warrior sat together, partners in honor, laughter, and the unbroken spirit of adventure.